What's up, people? We are back with another video. The page it is called South African Late News. Yeah, the Senzo case is still on recess, but nothing stops us from discussing the important issues in this case. So, in my own opinion, I believe that the Senzo case needs to be stopped because it is becoming clear that the evidence against the 5 men was cooked. Clearly, the evidence was cooked. Hence, there's no sufficient evidence against Stans and 4 others. After Balo is done with his case, I think Avdol Munisi must apply for what is called Section 174 discharge in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act. Section 174 discharge refers to the power of the court to dismiss charges against the accused if the prosecution has not presented sufficient evidence to support its case. The provision is normally invoked at the end of the case, meaning that after Balo is done with his last witness, then Mnisi or any other lawyers can apply for this section. The state has failed to bring evidence that is reliable. Instead, they try to get a coherent statement from Babu Zungu. Luckily, Babu Zungu has told the media that he made no such statement, meaning that the police misled the court. So the evidence that was brought to the court mentioning Ubabu Absalom Zungu must be struck off because it is not truthful. Babu Zungu has stated that he never made an affidavit to Kininda or to anyone else. If Absalom Zungu is given an opportunity to tell the court what was done by Kininda, then the judge may be persuaded to end this case in terms of Section 174. If Absalom Zungu efike enkantolo esho ukuthi uGininda wenzani uRatha alalele kahle, then he may be persuaded to see ukuthi hayibo uGininda kanti uphathisa kanje or anyone else in the police uphathisa kanje. So it is important ukuthi ulo umnisi or any other lawyers, they must put this application so that they can try and see if Ratha will be persuaded. But for me, it's clear that there was no proper investigation done in this case. Instead, Kininda tried to rely on these confessions and then these made-up statements, Babu Zungu and the one of Tabang Makeleni. It's clear that in the Moyo case, the state does not have sufficient evidence to get the guilty verdict. That's why Kininda allegedly went in this witch hunt to try and get a coherent statement from Babu Absalom Zungu. Babu Absalom Zungu alleged that he refused to implicate Ubungandanzi and Musibiya. Once he refused to give evidence in court, then he started to be intimidated and be harassed by Kininda, that is allegedly, because Babu Zungu has not said it in court. Once he says it in court, then it becomes evidence. But we know it already because the Sunday World interviewed Babu Zungu. So those allegations by Babu Zungu need to be investigated by IP so that Kininda is arrested if those allegations have merit. It is very important that Kininda is investigated. I believe that Absalom Zungu is telling the truth because he's got nothing to hide or he's got nothing to gain by revealing those facts or allegations. I believe Babu Zungu is just an honest man that was just caught in this triangle by the police. So it is in the best of interest that Kininda is investigated. Then Baloyi must also be investigated because Kininda told the court that the investigation was prosecutor-led, meaning that Ubaloyi was the one that was guiding Kininda on what to do at relevant stages. So it's possible that Ubaloyi is the one that instructed Kininda to get that coherent statement from Babu Zungu. So Baloyi needs to be investigated because the allegations by Babu Zungu are damning and they've got far-reaching implications in this case. The revelations by Absalom Zungu were extremely shocking. So Mr. Zungu also alleged that he never signed any affidavit or any statement. But during the testimony of Kininda, he referred to Ubaba Zungu's statement. But now we know that Absalom Zungu never deposed any statement or affidavit. So where did Gininda get that statement or affidavit of Absalom Zungu? That is the question that Gininda must explain. Because on Baba Zungu's version, he never deposed any affidavit or statement. You must also remember that the credibility of the so-called confessions is in question. During the inspection in Loco, you must remember that Moses Sibiya demonstrated how he was tortured at the Golden Spot. And you could see that place was secluded. And no one was going to see the police when they were abusing Moses Sibiya. So Moses Sibiya was able to point out that area where he was tortured. And some people had said Moses Sibiya lied about being tortured. But during the inspection in Loco, it was clear because he was able to go in that place and show Rata where he was tortured. So it will be interesting how Rata sees this, because he is the one that is going to make the final decision in this case. Then the confession was also taken in the early hours of the morning because most people were sleeping, so no one was going to see Moses Sibiya being tortured. The police thought they were smart, but the evidence in court does not add up. So the story of the confessions is just nonsense. And remember that Absalom Zungu has nothing to gain by making these allegations. So I really believe him. And also must remember that he said his son, Constable Zungu, was part of this because he was promised a promotion by the police. That's why Constable Zungu came and testified for the state, and he then implicated all the 5 accused. So no father would lie about his son. So I believe Absalom Zungu is saying the truth. So now, after Ubaba Zungu revealed that information, he says Gininda and others harassed him. So Ubaba Zungu, by refusing to testify, he has put his life in danger for no reason, because Ubaba Zungu is just an honest man that does not want his name to be dragged into the mud. So he was shocked when Gininda mentioned an affidavit that was deposed by him. Meanwhile, he never signed any affidavit. So we can see that this case is clearly cooked, and Rata must see that as well. But some of you all will say those are just allegations by Ubaba Zungu, but those allegations have merit. Remember that Bohan Ntanzi also alleged that Gininda offered him 3 million if he confessed and implicated the 4 other guys, meaning Ntanzi was supposed to be a state witness and then confess and implicate Musibiya, Kadlamncube, Bapisa, and Ntuli. But Ntanzi refused to accept the 3 million. So you can clearly see that there's more than one allegation against Gininda. But those allegations are similar in nature, because both allegations, Gininda is offering witnesses in return, is offering witnesses money in return for their testimony or confessions. So Gininda is allegedly trying to bribe those witnesses so that he can get a conviction. So you must just look at that, on those facts, that more than one person says he was offered money in return for his testimony. So you can clearly see that Gininda has got some shady way of getting evidence. Offering money to the witnesses seems to be his style of fabricating facts so that the judge can rule in his favor. We already know that the DNA evidence cleared all 5 accused. The sample that was tested by the DNA expert indicated that all 5 men were excluded, meaning that they were not at the Khumalo house when Senzime was shot. So by that, Gininda realized that he cannot cook the DNA evidence since it's done by an independent doctor. So what Gininda did allegedly he focused on those fake confessions because the DNA did not support his narrative. I don't understand why Rata couldn't see this, because it's clear that this case is cooked. The worst thing is that the state says the confessions contain some element of lies. So how can Baloyi expect us to believe those confessions if himself thinks that those confessions are not accurate? So Rata should not have accepted those confessions, because Baloyi himself and Guininda admitted that in those confessions there are element of lies, which means those confessions are not truthful. So you can't then ask Rata to convict these guys, because yourself you're saying the confessions are not accurate. So I think the IP need to investigate Brigadier Guininda's conduct, because it seems to be very suspect based on these allegations by Ubabu Zungu and Ntanzi and Musibiya. So you must also remember that Guininda also tried to pin the shooting of Senzo Meyiwa to the Buthelezi brothers. Luckily, the Buthelezi brothers did not make any confessions. We already know that Guininda interviewed one of them who was mentally unstable. How immoral it is that, because now you cannot conduct an interview nomuntu ongaphilile ekhanda. So Guininda tried to get information from umuntu ongaphilile ekhanda. Such an immoral act, and yet you still believe in Guininda and Baloyi's case. There is no evidence against this accused. Then the arrest of Ntanzi was also illegal. Yeah, Ntanzi was arrested illegal. Remember that we were told that Ntanzi was initially arrested for the Nongoma case. But the Nongoma case started and ended without Ntanzi appearing in that case. His so-called co-accused, I think his name was Nitela Mthelisi, was allegedly found guilty. But Ntanzi was never called for the case. But Guininda tells us that Ntanzi was arrested for the Nongoma case. This shows that Ntanzi was not really arrested for the Nongoma case. It was just a farce. Ntanzi was arrested for the Meyiwa case, but they had no evidence to keep him in jail. So they just said, no, we are arresting him for the Nongoma case. So that arrest on its own was illegal. It shows that the police did not have evidence against Ntanzi. That is why they abused him in order to get those confessions. Clear, Ntanzi was never arrested for the Nongoma case. But some of you still don't see how the police operate. So those tactics that are used by the police are very questionable. They are very questionable. Then we can even go to those contradictions that are in the state case. Remember that the gun that was used to shoot Senzo Meyiwa had a will that is according to the witnesses that were in the house, meaning that the gun was a revolver. But then Chris Mangena comes to the court and tells us that he tested a 9mm. What nonsense is that? But Ulo Mangena tested a wrong gun. The gun that shot Senzo Meyiwa was a revolver. But Mangena cannot dispute the evidence by the eyewitnesses, because those eyewitnesses were in the house. They were able to see the gun with their own eyes. So Umangena yafika atiena in 9mm, because Umangena was not there. We know that the bullet jacket that was found in the crime scene on the Monday, a day after Senzo was shot, it was planted. How do we know that? Because on the night that Senzo was shot, no bullet was found after the police had searched the Khumalo house. In the morning, they find a bullet. Clearly that bullet was planted there in that crime scene, so that they divert their attention from the people that were in the house. So they planted that bullet in order to link it to Ncube gun. It is simple. So Umangena tested a wrong gun. So the entire evidence around the gun is very shady, and I suspect that it was cooked by the police in order to fit into their narrative. I'm saying that without any fear of contradiction. The gun evidence was cooked. No doubt about that. Then we can also mention the failure of the state to call some relevant witnesses like Gwabini and Longotwala. The state is really afraid to call Gwabini because he might dispute the evidence that was given by Constable Zungu. Remember that Constable Zungu alleged that all 5 accused were at the hostel before and after the shooting of Senzo Meyiwa. He then implied that they are the ones that unalived Senzo Meyiwa because they celebrated his death before it was announced in the news, meaning that they knew because they are the ones that shot him. However, Uzungu kept quiet for 4 years. As a policeman, he should have known that if I know of a crime that was committed, I then have to go and report it to the police station. But Uzungu wazangakwenzela wathula iminyaka ewu-4. He comes when the case of Senzo is starting, and then he says, no, I know this and that and that. Abanga wodwa lawo. Uzungu is being used by the police in order to convict these guys. Uzungu is telling the court amanga wodwa. Yonke into ayisho court amanga. And then umnisi asked, okay, Mr. Baloyi, can we have EAVL report ka Constable Zungu? Ubaloyi uthini? Uthi no, Zungu's car was not fitted with an AVL, but the same car that was driven by Uzungu was a state car. How convenient. So if we had literally AVL report ka Constable Zungu, then we could see if why in a hostel as Ashwayen. But into sure manje by Baloyi, the car had no AVL. How convenient. And then last thing, Ilendole Ubaloyi has not called Gwabini to come before court. He's saying Gwabini fears for his life. Whereas Gwabini is the only person that can deny or confirm the story by Constable Zungu. So the story of Gwabini is scared to come to court because he fears for his life, I don't buy it. If he's very scared for his life, then the state could provide him with what is called the police protection or witness protection, the same protection that is offered to Constable Zungu. So ukuthi lona Gwabini is scared, amanga wodwa lawo. Gwabini is not scared. Ubaloyi akafuni uGwabini ezinkantolo because uGwabini might just say uConstable Zungu uqamba amanga wayengeke hostel. And then if Gwabini says that, the state case fall apart because the premise of this case ukuthi abasola they were all at his house on the night Senzo was killed, and then they had guns after 9 p.m. So if that part of the evidence is debunked, then the state case will just collapse. So Baloyi will try by all means to make sure that uGwabini ageze enkantolo. You see, so we are born ukuthi there's no case here. So I'm hoping that umnisi will apply for Section 174 discharge so that Urata can just dismiss this case before the accused or before the defense open their case. There's no need to even defend themselves now because we know which evidence was fabricated. I somehow fear for the life of Absalom Zungu because now he has spoken out to the media. So now he might get more harassment from the police or whatever. But I'm glad now that his story is in the open. So if something happens to Absalom Zungu, we all know who did it. We all know who did it. I'm not going to say his name because igama lomuntu liyabiza, but you can see things now. We know how they operate. So I'm hoping that when the case resumes, Ubaloyi will finish with his witness. He said he's going to bring that guy from ENCA, the one that was supposed to confirm the authenticity of that tape or video of Longotwala walking out of the Khumalo house. So Baloyi is going to bring that witness. But the same witness was not in South Africa when Senzo was shot. He was working in China. So Ubaloy should have brought a video camera, a video or what you call a cameraman to confirm that video, not someone that was outside the country. But we have the states see kanjani, so we shall see. So once that witness is done, then Baloy's case will be over. Then Mnisi or anyone or any of those lawyers must stand up and say, okay, Chacharata, we are applying to bring in Section 174 discharge so that this case can be stopped because there is no evidence. I pray that Babu Zungu remains safe up until the case resumes, because if something happens to him, then the state will be happy because they won't have a problem of debunking his evidence that he gave to the Sowetan Sunday world. But now we know that Absalom Zungu never made any statement to Ubaloy or to any police. So the affidavit that was mentioned by Kinina in court, into engekho nje, inganekwane. So Babu Zungu must come and say that in an open court so that it becomes part of the record. Thank you for watching.